Hello, welcome to Screen Talk with yours truly, Nomfanelo. So today I want to talk about Emilia Perez and the backlash surrounding this movie. So the movie is a crime musical movie, which is directed by Jacques Audiard. He's a French filmmaker. It stars Carla Sofia Gascon as the titular character Emilia Perez, Zoe Saldana as Rita, and Selena Gomez as Jessie. So, the journey for this movie from Cannes till award season currently has been interesting. So, it started off, I would say, to a good start. If you want to call it that, with its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, where I believe it won the jury prize. The main actresses, they collectively won the Best Actress prize there for their performances. And then they went on to do the festival circuit run, which included a Toronto Film International Film Festival, where it, I believe, it was the first place runner up for the People's Choice Award, and it seemed like the critics, for the most part, seemed to enjoy this movie. So as like the movie was about to be released on Netflix in November, it piqued my interest with the acclaim and the awards it received prior to the Netflix release. And then it seemed like as soon as this movie came out on Netflix, it has took a turn for that movie. I would say for me, honestly, I was just puzzled by this movie. I wasn't sure what to think of it when I first saw this, but as time went on, I just thought this movie was just terrible. Like the execution was just terrible all around. The choices it made, it just did not make sense. I felt as though that with the movie surrounding Emilia Perez, it should have like really be more character driven by really exploring, who is Emilia Perez essentially, because it just seems as though that the character comes across as very cold and is not very open. So with that, it makes it harder for the audience to connect with the character. Also, too, just makes you wonder, with the character transitioning from a man to a woman, what was the motivation behind that? It just seemed like that choice was made to evade authorities and continue to do what they're doing. But then when it showed the years later part, the character all of a sudden wants to do this whole like nonprofit organization helping victims of cartels. It's just that doesn't make sense when the character does a complete 180 without any like backstory or nuance to those decisions. And yeah, a lot of people point out that there was a lot of stereotypes surrounding the cartel, and some of the choices surrounding its portrayal of Mexican culture left a lot of people perplexed, including a lot of Mexicans from what I saw online. And I would say what works for this movie, for me, Zoe Saldana's performance as Rita. It's interesting that she's campaigning as a supporting category when really her character's more of a co-lead at best, just given the amount of screen time the character has. And the El Mal sequence for me, out of the musical sequence, was the highlight of the movie. But yeah, for the most part, this movie just did not work and did not make sense. In terms like of award season so far with this movie, seems like it's going to win a lot of awards because we just had the Golden Globes where it was the big winner with four Golden Globe wins, including Best Picture in a musical or comedy category. And I saw a lot of people, particularly people from the Wicked fan base, were upset with that choice. And it may seem like it's going to be the front runner leading up to the Oscars. I mean, we shall wait and see on that one because it just got a lot of nominations for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. I believe it's the front runner for the BAFTA long list with 15 nominations. We'll see how it does when the short list is unveiled within days. The Oscar nominations are coming out soon within days, which got delayed, I believe, to the 19th due to the wildfires in California, which I send my thoughts and prayers based on what I've seen online. Like those were just horrific to see. But yeah, with this movie, honestly, I'm just perplexed to why it's getting a lot of awards attention. To be honest, I don't know if it's due to the fact that with last year not being a strong year for movies as a collective, or if the voters really do love this movie. I honestly don't know. It could be a combo of both, but who knows. I found article here on BuzzFeed that talks about this situation. They say here fans are calling Emilia Perez problematic, despite it being an award winning and critically acclaimed film. So as I mentioned, yeah, it was the big winner at the Golden Globes, which seems to poise this movie as like the front runner. And yeah, because of Golden Globes, it got 10 nominations, which I believe is a record for the Golden Globes history. And it ended up winning four, as I've mentioned. The movie is written and directed by French filmmaker Jacques Audiard, which apparently is based off his four-act opera libretto loosely based on Écoute, which is a 2018 novel by Boris Razon. And then they've mentioned it, yes, has gotten praise by critics and filmmakers. But despite all that, it has gotten controversy. Apparently, they say many people within the LGBTQ community have not shared the same sentiment. Glad they called the film a profoundly retrograde portrayal of a trans woman. Critic Rihanna Cruz on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast said, the entire time I was watching it, I had a really weird feeling in my stomach because to me it seemed like the filmmaker was painting trans women as liars, liars and people that can't tell the truth and they don't know who they are. And then yeah, like and after Golden Globes, the backlash has essentially intensified. Like here is Hector Guillen, if I'm saying that right, essentially posted this saying, "This is a message to the Academy. Mexico hates Emilia Perez, racist, Eurocentrist, mockery. Almost 50,000 dead, and France decides to do a musical. No Mexicans in their crew or cast." And then yeah, a lot of people sharing, their thoughts on the film, essentially. And then also too, it's worth noting that apparently the filmmaker Jacques Audiard did not do any research on Mexican culture, which I find is a choice. I don't know how to feel about that, but yeah, people are not happy with this movie. So it does make you wonder, why is this movie getting a lot of praise despite the backlash? Is it something that, that the voters see the brilliance of this movie, that the audience is it, or I don't know, does it speak to the year 2024 was with movies? I who knows what is going on there, but in terms like is the backlash warranted? It depends who you ask, really, though. If we're going from the public, sure it is. Absolutely, like based off the various things that I've mentioned. But I'm sure there's other people going to say no. Like people are just blowing this out of proportion. It's an excellent movie, I'm sure some would argue. In my opinion, I'm not surprised by the backlash at all because the movie just overall was a mess. I don't know how the story was within the original source material, whether that was the opera or the book. as I've mentioned. But yeah, it was just a mess. Despite performances, the excellent performances from Zoe Saldana, I would say too from Carla Sofia Gascon, and yeah, the El Mal sequence. They don't really do enough for me to save this movie. But I'm really curious though, like with this backlash, is it going to affect its chances at the Oscars? Now, I'm sure based on its performance so far, it'll probably receive a lot of nominations, but is it going to receive a lot of wins? That is the question, because who knows, we could see other films emerge. Who knows? I think anything can happen at this point, because I don't think it's set in stone that Emilia Perez is going to dominate award season. Because I know, because I've seen a lot of people complained, last year about the categories for the most part being predictable. Well, here you guys are. It. You could argue it's unpredictable at this point. There's chaos, I imagine, but I wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing. We shall see what happens. So that's pretty much my thoughts on Emilia Perez and the backlash surrounding this movie. What do you guys think about all of this? Do you think the backlash is warranted, or do you think it's just being blown out of proportion? Let me know in the comment section. Also, too, if you've seen the movie, what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section. Also, too, if you want to support me, you can visit buymeacoffee.com/Namfi to donate. It'd be very appreciated. Also, too, if you want to follow me on social media, my links are in the description. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to catch you on the next one.